Warning, this video contains adult content not suitable for children.
What up, Kokomo? It's Kokomo Press Podcast. I'm not Sean, I'm Jordan, and this is
Jordan.
And we're back for another exciting week of the Kokomo Press Podcast. If I couldn't say that more enough, right?
Yeah.
But
it's branding. It's branding. We got to say it.
It's branding. Yeah.
The Kokomo Press Podcast.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep the Kokomo Press Podcast.
Kokomo Press. It's nice to see you over there. It's I got to see Sean last time. He was great, but
Sean was great.
Yeah.
I every time we have somebody else on, I get a little worried that I'm not gonna be on anymore.
No. They're always just placeholding you. They're probably sitting over here like, man, I gotta be as good as Jordan this week. I gotta figure out what I gotta say.
But that is probably never the case.
I don't know. Sean was giving you a lot of praise, man. I honestly, I was talking to him, and he's like, man, I'm watching Jordan do that wrestling stuff so much stuff. I was like, you have no idea. I was like, he's killing it.
I appreciate him just because I've seen him do a stand up and like go from town to town, and he's on that grind, and like I want to be on that kind of grind.
Yeah.
Like that's the grind I want to be on.
He's fun. I mean, my thing is like, as long as people are doing what their dreams are, and that's like his dream is to be a stand up that like goes from place to place, and like he does a lot of stand up, man. I've watched him over the years, and he's getting better and better. He's starting to find. They say it takes like 5 years to find your voice.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years he's in, but like once you find your voice, then it's just like a formula, almost formulaic. As long as you come up with good premises that aren't about like, I don't know, airplanes, because like half of all comedians is like airplane food, airplanes. It's going on that. I can't stand that.
Yeah, I don't like it when comedians act like they're the only ones that do something. Like, we're the only ones that get on airplanes. No, you're not, motherfucker. You just have a job where you have to go get on an airplane. Nobody wants to hear about it.
It's super annoying when, like, you know that's their life, and, like, the average person sitting at home is not taking an airplane every fucking day.
No. You know what I did? I took my fucking minivan to work.
Yeah. Talk about minivans. Talk about something like that.
Yeah.
It was nice having him in here because he actually had a lot of cool stuff to talk about. I didn't know the dude, like, sitting down and talking with people, you start to learn more about what to do. I didn't know he was in a pop punk band and he was a vocalist and shit. I was like, that's wild.
Yeah, when I was listening to the podcast back, I learned that too. Right? Mm-hmm. I didn't know it is crazy how much you'll learn about people and how weird we all are. Because
he's got such a timid voice. Like when you talk to him, he's like, "Hey, it's me, Sean," and then he's like, I can't imagine him in a pop punk band just like, guys, and something about my hometown sucks and pizza. It's like every fucking pop punk song's about how shitty their hometown is. Which
makes sense.
Everybody's hometown sucks.
All genres have to have a formula, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Rap music, you have to pimp hoes, sell drugs, and drink 40s or something, right?
Yeah.
And country music, you have to beat your wife and kill your dog, or cry about your dog.
There's
or
a horse,
something.
a truck.
Yeah,
we could always do the nicer version of all this is like a horse, a truck, and then you're like, let's go to the. And then like with rap, you're like this, but that's like selling drugs and do stuff. But then nowadays, it's like all rap is like about like your feelings. Blame Kid Cudi.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, you know what? I think that has a lot to do with Black America and like the stigma of mental health.
Yeah.
That's so much that those of us that have grown up in this have been like, nah, I'm just gonna talk about my feelings. It's all right. You know what? I like to cry over a nice glass of Merlot just every now and then. It just feels good.
Every rapper, every Lil Uzi, Lil Kodak, all these different. I love them all. I'm wearing Juice WRLD right now. This is literally he's the poster child for my heart. My heart is breaking.
Yeah, I mean, if I saw you down the road, I'd know that you were a sad boy and that you probably have a lean addiction.
I can't help perks and lean. You know what I'm saying? I can't. It's funny because like they all grew up on Lil Wayne. And then they were like, "Hey, we're gonna do exactly like Lil Wayne. We're gonna get the dreads going. We're gonna talk about our feelings, and then we're gonna drink lean and take perks.
Face tats.
Face tats. Lots of face tats. Does he have any? I don't even know if he does.
I think Juice has face.
I got into him because of my kid.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Kids get you in. It's funny. Like always thought I'd be the cool one, and then eventually, he's still not that cool.
No. My kids started listening to Juice, and I was like, "Who's this whiny dude?" And then it just kept going and kept going. I was just like, man, I kind of dig this guy.
Yeah. He's very, very, He's very, very repetitive. I think that's part of it why they get so stuck in your head is a lot of these newer rappers, they're very repetitive.
Yeah.
I was joking about that with Shelby, and she's like, man, all they do is say the same thing over and over again. And then, like, literally the day before, she was like, wanna listen to some old music that I love? I'm like, yeah. She's like, back then hoes didn't want me, now hot hoes all on me. I'm like, Mike Jones is the most repetitive rapper in the whole world.
That's just a hook.
That was a time. No, the whole song, my Jones ain't never lie, my Jones, everything is like everything is literally repeated. It's like his entire formula was like what these kids that they stole from Mike Jones too.
Yeah.
They just didn't take the number.
281-330-8004.
Everybody. Four. You said 4. You know it's foe. We all know it's foe.
My bad.
When you say 4, I'm like, that's not it. That's not the number. The number's foe.
Foe.
Foe. Yeah. It's been. It was a while since I had listened to some Mike Jones, and she put on like 3 or 4 songs, like back to back. I was like, damn, man.
Wait, he had more than 2 songs?
That's what I thought too. I was like, what? And then she was like playing some extra ones that I like haven't. I was like, I remember that, but it was like out of my head completely before.
You know what? Paul Wall was better.
Yeah. Paul Wall was pretty decent.
He was better. He's still the people's champ.
The people's champ. Yeah, that's freaking crazy, man. I mean, we've got that going on this week with we've got a lot going on this week with Facebook going down. I don't know how we survived.
Well, okay, so I have a friend. His name's Alcon. You've heard me talk about him. I think he had something to do with Facebook didn't take him down. So over the past week, and the reason why I wasn't here last weekend is because I went to this wrestling show down in Muncie.
Yeah,
huge show for DCCW, and they had big stars like the Boogeyman.
Oh yeah.
As you see,
yeah.
This is even signed.
He eats worms, right?
Yeah.
What did he sign it with?
Sharpie.
Oh, could I see
Yeah.
I didn't even see that till now.
The worms are legit.
Yeah, he eats them?
They're real worms. And yeah, he puts them in their mouth.
Do they live?
I don't know.
It's animal cruelty, baby.
It might be. Let's talk about animal cruelty here in a minute. But yeah, I thought it was the craziest thing because like I'm like, man, these have to be gimmick worms.
Yeah.
No, they're dropping on the mat and shit, and they're crawling, and I'm like, oh, they're
They're
real
real worms.
But I digress. So he was there. Rikishi was there. There were some other.
I saw the video.
Mm-hmm.
Did you post that? I think it was you that posted it.
So yeah, I got real good video of my friend getting a stink face from Rikishi.
Yeah.
So I think he had a little bit to do with Facebook going down.
So mad about it. He's like, why did somebody post this?
He has some pull, man. So you know.
I don't blame him. Yeah, I mean, that's one conspiracy. I mean, I've seen, like, when it went down, did you see, like, the internet broke? Like, I was on Twitter, like, because I'm on Twitter from time to time. It's, like, where I go. But everybody's, like, 20 years younger than me on Twitter, so I don't even know. It's, like, a waste of time. But I'm, like, on Twitter hanging out, and I'm, like, reading all these things. And there are people that think that, like, it got shut down because of child stuff. And, like, they're deleting all the files, and they're going through. And then some people are like, they got hacked. It's over. Like, all your photos are gone. All your everything is gone. And then it all came back.
Man.
Yeah, it's all back down.
Damn,
But Instagram, WhatsApp, all of them just went down for like almost like I want to say it was like 7 hours, 6-7 hours.
I know it was a while. I remember that day. I actually, because I live the better lifestyle of sleeping during the day. Like I was down on Facebook for a couple hours, and a bunch of people had told me, "Hey, Facebook's down, and I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
It didn't last very long for me, but I know that man,
all day I was just like, man, I wonder if it's. I woke up in the morning and it worked for a minute, and like I kind of didn't do anything on there. Like I just like looked, and then I went back to my life. Yeah. And there was like people I knew had birthdays and stuff. I didn't tell them happy birthday. Courtney's birthday actually went down on Courtney's birthday. Yeah. Which is hilarious. And then another friend, Brooke, her birthday was that day. So I was like, I'm going to tell everybody happy birthday. And then the shit went down. And then Messenger went down. And I was like, this isn't normal.
Messenger was the weirdest thing. Because I sent Courtney a message for her birthday. And I was like, I just screamed happy birthday.
Yeah.
You know.
I saw the video. That's hilarious.
I forgot. Yeah, I felt bad that she didn't get it forever, but yeah.
It was funny because like I in my head I'm like, bro, we really don't have anybody's numbers. Like it's like I got your number, I got Corey, I got people that I talk to's numbers, so it's not a big deal. But like random people that like okay, so here's a weird thing that happened. It was Monday, right? So I remember now it was Monday for sure because I'd done the podcast with Sean, and normally when I put out the podcast for Spotify, I usually put up a picture of the person who was like a special guest on the show. And I was trying to do that, but I couldn't get to Sean's page to get a picture to like process to put it on there. So I didn't get to do that for him because I couldn't. Facebook went down.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't even message him to be like, hey, send me a photo because I don't have his number.
Right.
So we always talk on Facebook. And I was like, man, this shit really affected me today.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm in the same boat. I don't know anybody's phone number.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't even know why I have a phone number sometimes because, like, most of the time I just use Messenger or some kind of instant messaging app to talk to whoever I'm trying to talk to, right?
That's the truth. Like, Shelby and I, we talk about all the time how weird it is. People are like, we only talk on Messenger. Like, we don't even talk
Same
on
with me and
text.
Like,
it's like, what's the point? And then when your Messenger goes down, you're like, oh, shit. And then I had to message her, and she's like, this is weird. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
And then when it came back up, we're, like, talking on 2 different platforms. I'm like, we need to pick one now.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up happening before, why we ended up always on Messenger, because we have to pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked Messenger from the jump, just because, like, before I transferred over to the dark side, we used to have the little chat head bubbles, right?
Yeah.
And so it was super handy.
Like, Messenger basically was like, hey, we're gonna take everything that Apple does and then put it like on our Messenger, and then add a lot of features like random shit. So like, I like the way Messenger's set up. It actually is pretty decent for a messaging app. I mean, but WhatsApp went down, Instagram went down. It was just crazy. I went on there. I was trying to get stuff done. Couldn't get anything done, and I was like, hey, man, I guess being a Facebook or a Facebook page person is kind of backfiring at this point.
I mean, we might need to think of Plan B options. So.
We have a Twitter, but it's like crickets. It's like dead. Every time I go on there and post something, it's like me and you. It's like people we know, like the 3-4 people that we know on Twitter. We just don't, like, it's hard to get. People our age do not use Twitter, and when they do, it's so few and far between, or they're using it for like their own fans or something.
Well, look, I implore any of the 2 people that are listening to us right now. Look, if you know anything about Twitter and you want to help, we really could use like a Twitter manager.
Yeah. Honestly, or just even like, hey, I am in a good crowd of people. Let me just add them to Twitter because I'll use it. I've been on there. I do it, but it's like it's so tedious.
It's the same with me. The only time I really try to use any of that shit is when I'm down on fucking Facebook. And you know what's bad? Since I've came back from my band, I haven't been as active on Facebook as I was prior, right? Like, I'm still active because, still got shit to promote. We still have podcasts.
But when you don't have it for, 30 days, you kind of get used to not having it, and then it's, like, not a big deal.
It's the weirdest thing, because I don't even like to get on there, like, because scrolling is, like, kind of, it's annoying to me now.
Yeah. The only time I ever really, the most, now that I'm back to work after 6 months off, basically, which has been a while, I did a full 5 days. I didn't even call it a PA. Not even one PA, not one vacation. I know, I went the whole, I basically deserve a medal. But I worked the whole week and shit, and I was just like, by the end of the week, I was like, oh my god, why am I still in here? And like, I was like, man, that's the only time that I'm like, what? There's nothing new. Like, that's how I am, like, at work, because I'm like, anything going on.
Well, that's also the thing. Like, I noticed that since Facebook went down on Monday, and a little bit before, when I do scroll, I see a lot of the same shit.
Yeah.
And which, for me, I don't know about you, but for me, that seems weird because I have like 4,500 friends on my friends list, and I haven't unfollowed them all. Yeah. Right. So like,
well, you know that they have that new feature where it's like you have favorites on there, where those people will pop up more. And I appreciate that a little better because you get to choose it now. Because for the longest time, like, there was like 3 or 4 people that like I literally have zero interaction with in real life.
Yeah.
But like their stuff popped up on my shit all the time, and I'm like, that's cool, but like I don't really talk to this person, so I do appreciate that they've made it more about you and less about what their algorithm decides. But it's still like you pick like 10 people, and then like those are the main people you see, and you might get a tidbit of somebody else.
I don't know, man. I kind of like seeing other people's debauchery.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't like it when it's all them. That's what I mean. When it's like showing me everything about this person's life, and I'm like, I don't even talk to this person.
Yeah, I don't like it when it's just, hey, I see this random skank. Hey, I see this random skank. Hey, same random skank. Hey, same. No, don't want to see all that shit. Yeah. I want to see some variety. Plus, like, I use Facebook as the news.
Yeah. Like, it's sad. It's sad, but we do. I do have the news button, and I go there now. I used to actually go to news sites, and it's probably like anybody, all the conspiracy theorists right now, like, no, they're winning, and I'm like, at the same time, like, it's news, but like, I also know that I can go somewhere else to look for what I want. And Twitter is a lot more. it's a little bit more you. The Twitterverse is so. It's actually really cool in a way because like you can be a part of like I'm part of like I know Black Twitter's like the biggest one they always talk about like you can if you're not a part of Black Twitter then and I've got like one pinky toe in Black Twitter because I'm like not black at all but like I love like hip hop and that kind of stuff so I'm there I see a lot of the jokes and stuff and that's what I'm there for is the comedy aspect of Black Twitter because they're undefeated as far as comedy, dude. It's one of the Black Twitter is the funniest shit. But then like wrestling Twitter, I get a little bit of that because of you and Matt and Scrap. That's so
wrestling Twitter is toxic. Wrestling is toxic as a whole, but
I'm just looking at it like I have no idea what's going on every time wrestling Twitter stuff pops up. But I get so much of it from you guys, and then I've got like Pokemon TCG Twitter and like. Nice. Sports like Pacers and Colts Twitter and just you get all these different subsets and it's so funny how people will lean into one.
That's my problem with Twitter is I've really tried to like make it more than just one wrestling Twitter.
Yeah, diversify your thought, but it's like
but I can't because every like I try to add other people.
It feeds you what you.
It just feeds me wrestle shit.
But it's also what you interact with, so you must be interacting with it. You can't help yourself. This is the shit I care about.
I'm kind of addicted to wrestling. I kind of love that more than my kids sometimes.
Poor kids.
I mean,
hey, well, good thing they love it too. No, it's funny to me because like it's like Facebook went down on Monday, and then since then it's like they've been hiring bots left and right. Like I swear to God, like I've been on Facebook. Guys, I know that I'm not the only one that's dealing with this. Like, 50 fake women that like have you can tell are fake, and their names are like Jim Bob, but there's a woman's picture and she's scantily clad, and then she's adding you, and you're like, maybe don't add her. It's not real, guys. There's nothing you can win from this.
I'm gonna look right now.
Yeah. It's like I just got one this morning. I will look up a name too, because like we've got to tell people the names, because there's always like some stupid fucking name, dude.
I did delete
Nicole Weschler. That's the most recent one. I got Nicole Weschler, and she's not even a real person. Let's go ahead and click on Nicole here. I don't know if you can see Nicole. This is Nicole. I don't know. Yeah, that's Nicole. Nicole is got her tits out, and she's got makeup on. And she said, "Hi there. I started a WhatsApp group to have sex. There are many single girls here who need great sex. You can participate here without spending money. You can love a girl like you. You can love a girl like you here. Are you?"
I get these 7 times a fucking day, and literally now what I do is I'll click on it and I'll be like, "This is fake," but usually I'll just instantly delete it. But sometimes I'll be like, we'll click on it, and I'll instantly look for the WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's always
if I see WhatsApp. No.
Yeah.
Dead.
It's so funny, man.
And then I look to see if Jordan's a mutual, because he normally is.
Oh, how dare you! I don't ever add him. I never add him. I don't. I did. I remember I added one time, and it was like because it was like it seemed legit. Like she had a bunch of my friends, and then I started looking through, and I'm like, this doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem real at all. And then I was like, all right, fuck it. I guess I gotta be
better at hiding these.
Yeah. I think they're hiring. I think ever since the unemployment ran out, they're like, hey, we need to hire more bots that can do all this, and it's like, let's get it in.
Let's get everyone's stimmy money.
Well, Popeyes open this week,
so everybody's stimmy money's going there.
That's where the money's going. I mean, if you've seen the lines across the up and down the streets.
How many times have you been there?
0.
What?
Have you been there?
Yeah.
You have? How many times?
Once.
Only once? Okay. Listen, one time it's completely acceptable. The people that have been there multiple times, I'm like, how do you have time to sit in that line?
I did 2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hours.
Bro, I would have quit after about 15 minutes. I was like, I'm going home.
I would have, but I kind of got boxed in.
Yeah, you were like, I'm stuck.
It was pointed no return, and I'm like, fuck, man. Like, we get there, it's like 8:30 at night, right?
Did you go with Kim?
Yeah.
So at least you have somebody in the car to talk to.
Yeah. Well, me and Kim, we had been crazy all day. She had been working all day. I'd been with the kids, things like that. And then for whatever reason, I didn't eat. I think I did some wrestle shit. I came back home, and like, she's like, hey, you want to go to Popeyes? And I was like, yeah, let's try. It's late. There should be a line, right?
Yeah.
No. Go there 8:30 at night. Didn't get my food until like 10:20.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean,
by the time you were like, it was going to be good no matter what because you're starving.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I went back to work, and when I work, that's the only time I'm disciplined, like food wise. Like I don't even. That's why like the last 6 months I've done nothing like but eat garbage because I've been home and doing nothing and not had a routine. But now that I have a routine again, like I'm back to like only eating one time a day, like 20 hours, 22, 23 hour fast, eating for like an hour and then being done.
Oh, is that what that's? I do that all the time.
Yeah. Well, you can't have drinks either.
Oh, okay.
See, every time I talk about it, everybody's talking about it, I was like, you only eat once a day, and that's called OMAD. And they're like, I do that too. I was like, do you drink it? They're like, yeah, Red Bulls, like Red Bulls, coffee, sodas, and I'm like, no, you really, I don't. All I have is water all day. And then I eat one meal.
Put some crack in your water?
I wish, dude. I need some.
Yeah.
I need some. After a while, it actually starts to make you, like your brain starts to fire differently, and you actually can think better. You have more clarity. It's like that keto thing where it's like your brain just starts working off ketones, so you're like...
Me with more clarity is a scary thought.
Yeah, no. Imagine it. I can see my future.
I already see my future.
That's so that's so Raven. That's every time I get into ketosis, like, ooh, it's pretty wild because you do. It's like almost. To me, it's like I think the evolutionary idea is like you get into ketosis because you haven't eaten in a while, right? Mm-hmm. And then like your body. The worst thing in the world is like, let's say you haven't eaten in a while because you haven't caught anything to eat or you haven't found any food, and then like everybody always thinks like if you don't eat, eventually you get so weak that you just wither away. But it makes no sense evolutionarily to do that because if you haven't eaten, you need to get better at getting food and finding food. So really what ends up happening is you end up working off ketones, and then the ketones end up like making your brain fire better, and you actually have more clarity and you can think well. And you're sharper right before, because you haven't eaten or done anything. So it's pretty wild.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's the science behind it seems pretty legit. And like every time, it's funny because like I'm like a balloon person because I go up and down with my weight just because like I will get really disciplined and then I quit and then I get really disciplined and I quit, and it's like before too long I'm just like I don't want to do this anymore. And I should probably find some middle ground, but I can't. There's no way. No, I'm way better at this.
See, you're just way more disciplined, as you said, than I am as a whole. Just because I don't really care. I'll just eat whatever the fuck I want. And, like,
yeah. But look at you, though. Like, I wish that I could do that and then not put on 4,000 pounds.
I mean, I can't help it. I wish I could gain weight.
Yeah.
So, like,
Well, yesterday was the first day that I've eaten 2 meals in a day. Like, cause like you're always supposed to do it. Like, you're supposed to take two days off a week when you do it. Like, that's because it's bad for your like. They say there's different camps, but like some people say it's bad for your metabolism to constantly do it, and I don't know if that's true. But anyway, even if it's not, like I had 2 meals last night, but I really only ate in like a 5-hour window. Mm-hmm. So then like today I'll probably fast for still 20 plus hours, which is pretty crazy. It's literally just like the most boring shit ever, and I'm telling you. people that care though are like, whoa, this is interesting.
Listen to me, how I starve myself.
Listen how I starved myself thin. Yeah. 10 pounds in a week.
Good job.
I know, right?
Good job.
That's how quick it is, though. It falls off, and then like you plateau, and then it falls off. You have to just keep sticking with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I went 10 pounds down. I'm like, this is exactly what I was looking for. Yes, the boost.
You know what else will probably help too? I know you're an active guy.
Yeah.
On top of, because we do podcasts, we do acting, we do all sorts of shit.
Kickball, softball.
That's what I was going to say. We have kickball tonight.
We have kickball! My bad. I didn't even step on what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I got the kickball things. I don't know if you probably can't see it on the wall because I've cut it out, but right here we got, this is from 2019. You played 2020 with us.
Yes, I did.
That was your first year with us. And we actually, they didn't do these, but we should have got one because we made it to the playoffs and everything. So, Nathan, get your shit together.
I know, right? Shit. We were runner-up, right?
Yeah, well, we ended up running up in our division, but when we went through the tournament in our division, we won out of that division.
Oh, did?
I'm pretty sure. Right?
I didn't think we won. My bad.
Well, we made it to the playoffs. We made it farther than the team
yeah.
from our nights. I know that. I don't know. They changed every year. They change up this. You might be right. We might have got runner up and they let 2 people in, and then we ended up getting farther than our other team. But I just know that we did really well last year. Like I said, and then usually every year we usually will win or get second.
Well, we need a trophy this year. So.
Yeah, it's a new night.
Yeah,
we haven't played Sundays. I haven't played Sundays ever. It's always been Saturdays. But with work, it's like Sunday's the best.
Sundays this is gonna work for me. I hope.
Yeah, you guys gonna work after.
We got a doubleheader tonight, and then I go to work.
So I'm hoping we could. I mean, we have the 7:30 game and the 8:30 game. So it's like, and the fun thing is we were supposed to start last week when you were out of town.
Yeah,
and then they rained it out.
Because you
weren't there.
You can't have kickball without the curator. Apparently,
and the boogeyman with the minute rain. He was like, "Listen, I got you,"
because he's the boogeyman.
Yeah, watching that video of Alcon getting the stink face was hilarious. I just wish that he had like the real the dangler, like the what is it, the sumo kind of thing.
Yeah. Like his actual.
But he was wearing like the pants. I was like, man, that's way. That actually might be worse. Maybe just took like a meaty shit and then it got trapped.
I don't know. So Kishi was like, he's been sitting and signing all sorts all day long,
sweating.
You know, I saw some dude bringing some Jimmy John's, some Portobellas, some all sorts of shit. So like, you never know. Like I don't know.
It might have been worse.
Yeah.
Alcon's still trying to clean his nose. I was like,
I sent him some sanitary wipes.
Here's the whole pack, man.
Yeah. He said it's getting better. So
But just getting that's hilarious. That's the best thing. But between that and the Boogeyman, you had him, and then you have Gangrel. Did you meet Gangrel?
Gangrel actually was not there.
He didn't make it.
No, he was sick. So
But nowadays, it's like anytime anybody gets sick, it's like you're definitely not coming.
Yeah. So I didn't get to meet him, which was kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny because this guy named Sam Knight, he's managed by Alcon.
Yeah.
He came out as Gangrel. Did the whole brood thing. He had a chalice full of red Kool-Aid. it was.
Who did he end up wrestling?
He ended up wrestling this guy named Dax. What's his? I'm gonna butcher his name.
Yeah.
This guy named Dex. Dex. Yeah. For the title, Sam Knight was a current champion.
Yeah.
And Dex had a briefcase that he was able to cash in for a chance at the championship anytime. So he cashed it in. He actually ended up defeating Sam.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so it was actually
new champ that night.
They opened up the show that way.
That's how they opened.
That's how they opened up the show.
How do you top that?
You end it by Rikishi giving fucking Alcon a stink
hilarious.
So.
That's funny though. I saw that video and I was just like, yeah, this is awesome. I was like, that's it. I'm done. I was like, and you got to see it in person. And did you say Brian? Did Brian go with you?
Brian was with me and his buddy Mike. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Michael's cool.
Yeah.
He went. When I did the show in July.
That dude was funny as fuck.
Dude, he's crazy, dude. I love Michael. I
grew up to have him here just for the random ass shit that he says.
Dude, he used to live down the road from me, and Michael was, I think he's like a year younger than me or a couple years younger than me, and his brother was like the same age or a year older than me, and we used to backyard wrestle, me and his brother, like all the time. His brother, it's Michael, and then the older one is named Will. He's the junior, and then I can't remember the middle one. The guy I used to actually spend time with. I can't remember his name right now. Joe Howard, that's his name. And then he ended up getting into boxing, and the dude actually was on ESPN in Madison Square Garden boxing for a while.
Oh wow!
He had like nerve damage in his face, so he couldn't feel shit. So he was just like a punching bag and get his face beat, and then he ended up just outlasting the opponent. He was tired. It was like some Muhammad Ali in the jungle. You know what I mean? When he like. Who was he? Was it
George Foreman?
Foreman, yeah. Where he outlasted him and dope or what is it? Rope-a-dope. There it is. Yeah, I was thinking about that in my head. I'm like, that's exactly how he was, where he would just outlast him, let him punch him in the face enough times, he wouldn't feel it, and then he'd just end up winning. It's pretty wild. Yeah. But that whole family is crazy. I grew up with them because their dad owned a restaurant. You know where Star Nails is? Like that crazy looking shit on fucking Markland? Yeah. Yeah, it used to be called Howard's Restaurant, like breakfast restaurant. And they used to have like the best biscuits and gravy, dude. Yeah. World. It's actually sad that they're not there anymore because the biscuits and gravy were so good. Like, it sounds sad because I love biscuits and gravy. This is Indiana. But anyway, yeah, Michael's hilarious. He was at our he's good friends with one of the guitarists in my band too. So he was at the show in Lafayette when we did it, and he was there. And then when we went to see Bayside as a band, like my whole band, he was there too. So it's always like he's a huge Bayside fan. Nice. Yeah. That's baller though. It's funny how small, like it's small town, and like how there's so much connections in it, man.
I find this in like generally any hobby that you do, I find that like the world is just smaller and smaller because I meet so many people that know these people and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I should have not held myself in my house so long.
And those of us that have hobbies, it's like there's certain people that are like you said, the overlap is so crazy. Yeah. Like it's like between music and then like wrestling and then like comedy and stuff. Like Brian's huge into wrestling and comedy. You're huge into wrestling and comedy, and then like Michael does the wrestling and the music, and it's just like so much overlap. It's funny it's funny like because I literally just saw him. He did some type of picture he was posting. He posted something that I think Brian posted it where he had posted up looking at a billboard. Do you know?
Oh
what that was?
yeah. It was like some Travis Tritt.
Yeah, that was,
or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I wasn't with them for that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's funny though. I mean, that's cool. That's cool that you guys all went to that.
Yeah.
I know you were like, hey, if you want to go, you go, and I wanted to, but I had kickball, and then the
I
kickball
know.
got fucking canceled, so I could have went.
It was fun. It was a crazy day for me though too, because I went there. I was in Muncie at like 10 a.m.
Yeah.
Because I went there for a seminar that was going to be hosted by Boogeyman, but he was kind of under the weather. He wasn't feeling it, so he canceled his seminar. So I was just there hanging out all day. Yeah, I was actually there with. I went there originally with Chris Owens, which Chris Owens we're planning on having him next weekend on the show.
Yeah,
so hopefully that'll pan out. We won't have any hiccups or anything like that. But really good guy.
Yeah.
Went there with him, and he was really down for the seminar, and we just kind of hung out. We ended up just like kind of just running around in the ring, doing a little bit of like bumping and stuff on our own. So like it kind of worked out.
I saw that there's a big enough ceiling that you guys could. Did you guys get on the top ropes and do anything cool?
No, I'm not doing that crazy shit because I'm not trained like that.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I'm into wrestling,
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to be confused. I'm not a wrestler.
Yeah.
Wouldn't say I'm a wrestler because it's genuinely disrespectful.
Yeah.
Right, because I haven't trained for that. I am.
There's
learning.
a whole subset of that a lot of people don't. Unless you follow wrestling, there's a whole subset of like if you're not trained, you shouldn't do. And like, there's a whole bunch of stuff. To me, it always kind of as a person who loved wrestling growing up, and I used to backyard wrestle constantly. I did all kinds of crazy shit, and it's like I've taken so many bumps from doing that, but it wouldn't even count like towards any of this. So it's like I get it, and but I also doesn't leave a lot of room for people to like kind of come in from nowhere. You have to kind of get trained, and it's almost like
I think that has everything to do with mindset. The more and more I do this, eventually I'll just become a wrestler. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
I just don't see myself as that right now. This is why like when I do things as a curator, chaos or things like that, it's like it's not necessarily to highlight me as a wrestler. It's just to highlight me as a loudmouth chicken shit motherfucker, right?
Yeah. But a lot of people I've literally the only thing that bothers me about it is when with that type of culture is a lot of motherfuckers get scammed too. I don't know if you've heard like people will like I'm gonna take this wrestling class. They'll like pay a bunch of money for wrestling class, show up and it's just a guy beating them up for a couple hours and then they don't hear from him again.
Yeah,
and it's happened a lot.
I super worry about those things. You never want to get scammed, but once you find like a good, what I found, there's enough like if you're just talking about wrestling, there's enough independent wrestling companies that are around. Just especially here in Indiana, which may sound kind of surprising, but there's a lot of different companies around here, and with a lot of different guys who have worked in the industry who do have at least a level of experience that you can learn things from. So if you're willing to get in there and try to learn and give it your all, like you can do it. Yeah,
I just worry about the pay to play aspect. It reminds me a lot of like the rap game even, like where they you need a big homie. Like they always say who's your big homie? Like who's the guy that's your that's like gets you in your OG. They say the OG or whatever. And it's like the same with wrestling. Very much like if you don't have an OG, if you don't have a guy who trains you, who's been in the industry, a lot of times they won't even fucking see you.
Yeah.
And it's like it almost creates like a disparity in people. And I mean I understand the concept of it because you don't want people walking in like, I can wrestle, and then you get in there and they hurt you. Because it's a dance. It's literally a dance. Like, and if you're only as good as the person that you're wrestling, and if somebody says, I can wrestle, and then they get in there and they can literally hurt you, break your neck, kill you. So you have to trust the person next to you. And you have to trust that they know proper technique, and like you can do that without getting scammed. So I hope, like, if you still want to get into wrestling and something you want to do,
don't
find one of these independent places. You can get reps in there. I've watched the guys take bumps when I was there with you talking about filming. They were like taking bumps.
I know. Here in Kokomo, we don't pay for anything that we're generally doing. There's generally no one charging anyone. I know there are schools around. You could go to Lafayette. I believe it's called School Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
That's where Chris Owens
went.
Great name.
Not really. I hate that name.
That's where Chris Owens went.
No disrespect to the School of Hard Knocks. I'm just saying.
If you know some other famous people like Ruby Riott, Ruby Soho now, she came out of there.
Yeah.
She's actually from Lafayette. Lots of other big names.
Yeah.
But I think if you're just trying to find your footing and just getting your just kind of getting your feet wet, You know, don't pay out to anyone.
Yeah.
Right? Like, 'cause don't be a dumbass. But like, you know, go in with an open mindset. Learn as much as you can. Network as much as you can, because like that's the most important part of everything. Is like you have to meet people. You have to tell people who you are and what you're about.
Yeah.
And show them what you can do, because that's the only way you're gonna get anywhere in anything.
Yeah, and then just have like an open personality, because a lot of motherfuckers will come through like I'm the shit, and then you just nobody wants you around.
Yeah.
And that's with anything. That's with like music, sports, anything like sports, entertainment, anything. Like you have to be willing to learn, but also like you know come in with your knowledge base, come in with your personality.
Yeah.
Like I said, you dial up your personality to 11.
I mean, I'm really trying to dial it up to like 25 if I can, but like, you know, it all takes work. It all takes some.
Yeah, anything you do, you have to like do it, and a lot of people will like half-ass things, like whether it's a podcast, whether it's if you do comedy, if you do wrestling, if you do music, if you do like any type of like hobby, people will half-ass it, and then they're like, why am I not getting anywhere? And I'm like, you can't half-ass things. You got to actually show up. You got to do the work. You got to actually care about the editing process. You got to care about all that. And I think that's one of the things that with you, that's why I think people are noticing how good the videos are. Is like you dived in like, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
And you're getting it done, and it actually looks good. It looks really good.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. It's a big deal, because honestly, a lot of people around like video and stuff, they can edit for years and do a shitty job, and then they have no idea what they're doing. And you have to find your aesthetic, and you have to find what makes it work for you. And sometimes you have to like fuck up a lot and have to figure out how to fix it.
The way I look at it is, I've taken the last like at least 2 or 3 years of my life to just kind of like learn just this random shit, whether it's learning wrestling or learning some comedy, or learning this video edit, and a lot of it's just by watching other people do it. So like I've sat around and I've just kind of watched people do it, and like, it came to a point where, well, I got to stop watching people do it. I actually got to start doing it on my own, right? So like that's all it takes. I mean, and we're here, so you know. I'm not a wrestler, but I do wrestle shit, right? Speaking of wrestle shit, I have a show next weekend, October 16th, at Alliance Event Center at 7:30 p.m. Another big AACW show. So if you could come out, support. You know, Curator Chaos is going to be in top fashion, because this week, for this show, I get to host my own show within the show.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's pretty baller.
Yeah, so you know it'll be all about me, because I'm fucking great.
Are you gonna cut some promos, man?
You'll have to see. I want to be able to highlight other wrestlers in ACW, so I may bring somebody out. I may talk shit to a clown. I may talk shit to some stupid fan. You never know.
Yell at them. Tell them they suck.
Oh, I'm definitely.
No, you suck. No, you suck. No, you suck. No, you suck.
They're all tasteless, beige, unseasoned.
Oh shit. Sorry. Between Brian and I opened my phone because I got a message from Brian, and I saw something about uncircumcised, and I'm like, I can't talk to you, Brian. I can't talk to you ever. Yeah. I do. Oh, that's one thing I want to talk about, the new Chappelle special.
Yeah. So you watched this?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it a couple times. I watched it. I watched it by myself the first time, and then the second time I watched it with Shelby, and then she passed out because she was so tired. Yeah, I felt bad for her. But yeah, I watched it a couple times. How did you feel about it?
I watched it one time, and I thought it was really well put together. It was an educated set. He had purpose and meaning from the go. He was this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to explain to these people that like I'm not wrong. Yeah. And like, you know, as I have family that are in the LGBTQ community, so I find myself I call myself like an advocate, because you know I care about my family, I care about everybody, you know, and I'm not necessarily one of those people that cares about like someone else's sexuality, because I think it's stupid.
It's none of my business. I don't give a shit.
That part. That part. As I was listening through Dave and his jokes, like it made me think of how much we're going to continue to cancel things.
Yeah.
because of lack of understanding.
Yeah.
And we can't. Sometimes I think we can't say, well, we have this new understanding of this, right? And this new thing is a great thing, right? But we're gonna cast away all these old things.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the boat that, like, Dave found himself in.
Yeah. It reminded me very much of. Okay, so it's gonna sound, maybe you'll build on board with this. We'll see what your opinion on this is. So I watched the special. It's really good. I'm like, it's really, that last story, I teared up in it. Like I was like, I couldn't stop myself from crying because it was just sad. Like, he kind of threw us for a loop with that, and I was like, fuck me, and I got kicked right in the dick. But I'm not gonna ruin it because you should watch it. And that last,
you really should.
It was really good. But I mean, he was explaining his point of view from, like, he's done 6 Netflix specials. This is the 6th one. He's explaining his point of view from the other ones, and then he's like poking fun at, like, him being called transphobic. He's like, I'm transphobic comedian Dave Chappelle, and he's like just going through explaining where he comes from. A lot of it felt like when people, so like, you ever notice, like, when younger people they become part of, like, the LGBTQ community, or they become part of, or even if they're just like and this is a stupid way of explaining it, but, like, let's just say white liberals. I'm just going to say white liberals because it's the easiest way to say it. But a white liberal progressive is like, I believe in people, I trust, you know what I mean? I want everything to be new, everything's new, and I'm completely cool with that. But then you get to the point where it's like, they want to cancel Grandpa. And I'm like, okay, like, I understand completely where you're coming from. Like, Grandpa's stupid. Grandpa doesn't understand what's going on. But Grandpa also doesn't understand hip-hop. Grandpa doesn't understand culture. Grandpa doesn't understand... So, like, to me, it felt like him saying... Like, you want to cancel people that that grew up differently than you.
Yeah.
That understand a different point of view. He's like, I'm never gonna be completely in the same mindset as you are. I'm gonna support you.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna be able to go 100% the way you want to go. And I feel like it's the same with, like, Grandpa. When people are like, Grandpa said these stupid things, so I'm supposed to hate my own grandpa. Like, no, you're not. Your grandpa's not your grandpa may be a little bit of a bigot because he grew up that way, but at the same time, like, you kind of know what it is. Like, he's not like he's going to change his entire worldview.
Not giving them a pass, or anything. Yeah,
but they're not going to change their whole worldview. And it's just sometimes you go to Thanksgiving and you don't need to be an advocate. Like, just shut the fuck up at Thanksgiving dinner. Have a nice dinner with your grandpa. He's only here for a couple of more years.
I think the thing that stood out about that special the most was when he was talking about how people tell him he's punching down.
Oh, yeah.
And which is a big... I'm not trying to ruin the special, but
Yeah.
it's a big part of the special.
Yeah.
Where they believe Dave Chappelle is punching down on the transgender community.
Yeah.
And I had to think about, like, what the fuck that really meant. Like, and what he means is, a member of the minority community punching down on other minorities, basically.
Yeah.
So that's what that means, right? And that's not what he was doing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what his intent was.
No. I don't think it's punching down at all. I think it's more like he's a comedian telling jokes, and he's explaining from his perspective. And a lot of people lose that, because as much as comedians are telling jokes and saying things that are controversial, a lot of it's from their perspective and their life. And you're getting to go into their brain and see how they think, where they're coming from, and they expect them to always come from the same place you are. Who wants to listen to somebody talk from... Just listen to yourself talk then.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's boring.
Yeah. Record your own podcasts and then re-record, or then re-listen to them. Actually, record podcasts while you're listening to your podcast of yourself. And, yeah.
It reminds me of the South Park episode where they're, like, smelling their own farts. Like, that's exactly what this is like. Like, I mean, I want people that parrot the exact same views I have, so I can listen to the same thing. I would hate that. I don't ever... The weirdest thing about me that you'll see is if you go through my YouTube is, like, there's so much random shit that I have no interest in. Not even no interest in, but, like, politically views maybe I'm different. Or, like culturally I view differently. But I watch it because I'm like, I want to know how other people think. I want to know where other people come from. If I want to hear that be parroted the same things over, I don't want to live in an echo chamber.
You and Sean were talking about... you were talking about Rogan last week, and you couldn't remember Adam Curry's name.
That's his name. Yeah, no, I was talking about. I was like, he was actually the thought, because I was like, he's like the thought. I'm like, no, it's Adam Curry is the guy that started podcasting.
Adam Curry. Actually,
even Rogan, everybody admits it's him. It's like that's the guy who does it.
Yeah, he legitimately invented podcasting. almost forgot where I was going.
You don't agree with everything.
Yeah. Adam Curry, he hosts this podcast called No Agenda. I listen to it almost religiously.
Yeah.
Right? I don't agree with anything that they say at least 85% of the time.
Yeah, but you enjoy listening.
Yeah, I enjoy it because, like, I get to learn about opinions of the other people who think differently than I do. I get to learn about how people see things through their eyes. I get to learn about how maybe I might be wrong about some things.
Yeah.
So, like...
Different perspectives.
Different perspectives,
yeah.
right? You know? That doesn't mean that... And just because you have a different perspective doesn't mean you're punching down on someone.
Exactly. And I think that's the point of the whole special was him being like, listen, like you're asking me to think of you as the victim and everything, where like he's jealous, and that's basically what he was saying. Like I'm jealous as a black man that your movement is going so well, almost too well, to the point that I have to participate in your worldview.
Yeah.
But nobody cares about my worldview and the things that I'm going through.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, this hurts me as a person who's been through so much shit that I was willing to do what I needed to do to make it better for my people. And then you guys are still treating me like I'm the guy who's the asshole.
You should be able to talk about your life as a white male.
Yeah.
And any obstacles or hurdles that you have to get through and over.
Thank you.
No problem.
This is all I wanted to hear today.
Don't talk about it too much
Okay,
because
never mind.
nobody wants to hear about your problems.
Back to the no, but you're completely right though. That's a really good point of it.
Yeah.
Like everybody goes through it.
Yeah.
And that last story was a part of it. Like where he's explaining.
And that last story was heavy.
I'm having a human experience.
Yes.
That was a big deal. Because I think that's what comes down to it at the end of the day is, and I've always been a part of that camp, and I feel like it always gets me in trouble. But like at the end of the day, the individual is what matters. Like it doesn't matter what group you're a part of. It doesn't matter. Eventually, we all get to the point where we're all part of one group, and it's human being. That's the most important group is you individually as a human being.
Yeah.
And that's who we all are. And when you start to we start to subset people in different things. Well, you can't talk about this because you're this, or you. It's like I've heard a million people will say like one of the biggest things that drives me crazy, and I realize that this is me falling on the sword here, but one of the biggest things that drives me crazy is they're like, hey, you can't have an opinion on abortion because you're a man. I get it. I don't want to make I'm not going to make policy on it, but I'm like, you can't have an opinion on abortion because you're a man. I'm a human. That you're a human. The baby's a human. However you want to look at it. Anybody can have an opinion on anything. Should they decide for you? Fuck no. That's your decision. And at the end of the day, as much as I like do not like abortion and I do think it sucks, but I would never tell somebody how they should deal with that problem or that issue, because the only thing worse than an aborted baby is a baby who's abused and unwanted. Mm-hmm. To me, that's almost worse than an aborted baby, because if you are religious, say you are a religious person, and that's your objection to it is I'm religious. I think it's wrong. At least they're sending that fucking baby, in your opinion, on a direct fucking flight to God. And if you believe in it, that's where they're going.
Yeah.
So like I understand that you're like, hey, I think you should have the baby because it's wrong to kill something. Yeah, it's wrong to kill something. It's wrong to kill a baby. It's wrong to kill humans. It's wrong to kill a lot of things.
I think it's super wrong to create something you're not going to care for, though.
That's worse than anything. Like, that baby could have literally... that baby grows up one day. That baby's going to be a guy one day. That baby is literally on the corner of Kokomo on Washington and Markland with a sign right now asking you to give him $5, and you drive right by him and you say, fuck him. Every single day you do. And I'm not saying that you're wrong for saying fuck him. You're allowed to say fuck him. You're not allowed to not be interested in what he's doing. You're allowed to think that he's a bum who didn't work. But maybe think in your head for 2 seconds and say, oh, that's that baby I made her have. And then maybe you'll think, maybe you should take care of him. Maybe you should be the one out there giving him the money. And I'm not saying that's necessarily everyone. That's obviously a nominal. There's different versions of all this. But at the end of the day, like, that's why I don't like to be the guy that's controlling other people's decisions. If you're a trans man or a trans woman, you're trans, you're a man, you're a woman. I'm gonna go with that, and and like I said, when it gets to the weird stuff, like I don't want to call somebody it. We had that in the conversation before. Yeah. There's some weird stuff that but even then, like if I had a good friend of mine, if Jordan was like, "Hey man, I'm it now, man. You have to call me that." It might take me a while to get it down. Maybe I would decide to do it, but you know what? I won't know until I get there.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of this, and a lot of times the people that we're looking at and we're making these decisions on, and the people are just people on the internet that we're like, this person's an idiot, and that's why. But when it comes down to your family and people disowning their family, people not like respecting their own, like to me, not respecting your own family, it goes both ways. It goes backwards to what I said about Grandpa. Like, you don't get to cancel Grandpa, but guess what? Grandpa also doesn't get to decide what my pronouns are. Like, nobody gets to decide what the individual decides.
Because you know who's right?
Nobody. And
Nobody.
Or you know who's right? The fucking person living the experience.
Yeah.
That's the person's right. Whether it's Grandpa or whether it's a trans girl or a trans man. They're living that experience, and just fucking give them the space to live their experience. Don't like the people that drive me crazy. Like I've said, the people that drive me crazy are the people who make the decision before they get to meet the person. Fuck you. Like, you're an asshole. Like, period. You're an asshole if you make the decision before you meet the person. Meet the person, figure out who they are, and then decide. If they're an asshole, if they're a dickhead to you, you don't have to respect them at all. I don't respect people all the time that are assholes, whether they're trans or they're not, whether they're cis, trans, whatever, or whether they're fucking LGBT, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, Asian. You don't have to respect somebody because of who they are. You give them respect in the beginning, but if they're an asshole, you don't respect them. But what I'm saying is, in the beginning, give everybody some fucking room to breathe, bro. Like, it's crazy.
It is. You meet people, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't generally form like an opinion about people when I meet them, because it's stupid.
Yeah,
I don't know that person,
yeah.
right? But over time, you form an opinion over their actions and the things that they do, and like the type of person that they are, or like the situations that they may put themselves in, or things like that. Even if you don't agree with those things that person is doing, you're not gonna. It's not your place.
Yeah.
To sit there and bash them, unless they're legitimately hurting themselves or possibly hurting someone else. But
yeah, even then, I almost am like, listen, you have right to body autonomy as well there. Yeah. Like, if you want to hurt yourself, then by all means. I don't want you to. If you're a friend of mine, we recently had a guy who I knew who was like super right wing and very, very like coarse. A lot of it was trolling. It felt like just looking like he was looking for attention. Well, you could tell.
When you told me about him, it sounded like me. Right, yeah. He sounded like the right wing version of me.
Yeah, right? It's a guy who's trolling, joking around on the internet, trying to get people upset, and it's very, very misogynist in a lot of what he does. But most of it was just him crying for help, saying, "Man, I wish I could find a woman that treated me right." And then the next thing I know, I'm going on Facebook, I'm seeing all this stuff, and I go to his page, and the guy killed himself. And he kind of announced it the day before that he was going to do it, and it bummed me the fuck out. I barely know the guy. I know the guy from Facebook. I never met him in real life, at least as far as I know.
Yeah.
Didn't grow up with him. None of that. Just Facebook guy that I've seen and I've talked and I've kind of interacted with on Facebook and been like, bro, you're wild and stuff like that. Right. Just stupid shit like that. And it's like, I understand that like I have no right to be like upset, but I was pissed at the time, and I was talking to Shelby about it because I'm like, you guys, and I wasn't blaming anybody in particular, and I wasn't even really saying like it's their fault even, because I mean he made a decision that he made. But at the end of the day, like, what drives me crazy is the vitriolic way people talk to each other and deal with each other. Nobody has any empathy for anybody, especially people outside of their own bubbles. Yeah. Nobody has any empathy. And everything on the internet they take as fact, and this is what they mean, and this is who they are. And they boil them down into, like water. Everybody's water. We boil everybody down into, like, this is where they're at. I mean, you could have, whatever. You could have fucking, beef bouillon in a pan. They'll boil it to water because at the end of the day they're like, everything's technically water. Yeah. And it's like, that's what drives me crazy. Everything, you're this way, you say these things, so you're this. And instead of realizing that at the end of the day, it's an individual, it's a guy hurting, it's a guy looking for a way to feel, and he's abrasive, he's annoying about it sometimes. He was downright rude about it sometimes, but after everything is said and done, the guy was just calling, he was just asking for help, and not everybody, most people were just being assholes to him. And it's like,
kind of sucks.
I get it. I mean, it's not your job. It kind of goes back to what he said is like, what part of, how much am I supposed to participate in your self-image? Yeah. But it's like, you don't have to participate in other people's self-image, but you do have to participate in other people's self-worth. And if you're one of the people that's going after people all the time on the internet, like, oh, you're a piece of shit because you like Trump, or you're an asshole because, or you're fucking crazy because you're a trans activist, or whatever. Either side of the stupid coin that you're on, we're all individuals, we're all humans, we're all having a human experience, and we need to respect each other at least enough to be able to deal with each other and not hurt each other.
Right. Because
these conversations, they don't happen easily. And anytime they do, it's because somebody's not being realistic about it. If you're not being realistic, in a discussion, if you're a man, you have no rights to talk about abortion. In a discussion, if you're not a part of the LGBT community, you have no right to do this. Or in a discussion, if you are not a Christian, then you can't tell the churches that they need to. I'm like, at the end of it all, you're just being an asshole about it. Because who gives a shit? Who really gives a shit about anything?
Now people are gonna people may argue with me about this, but I don't think there's a rule book to this, to being on this earth.
No, there's not.
No,
even the one that a lot of people use is kind of flawed. So
yeah, Volume 1 of the comic book is a little weird, but
that fandom is crazy now.
Yeah.
No, but I really enjoyed the Dave Chappelle special. I really thought that it was a good bookend. That's why it's called the closer to what he was doing. He kind of explained where he came from, and then kind of said, "You know what? I'm just done having this conversation. I don't want to keep talking about it." He's like, "I started all this as trying to explain where I'm coming from. You didn't understand it. I'm gonna make it as plainly as possible." And half the time when Dave Chappelle does things, it's almost like he's more of a philosopher / preacher than he is a freaking comedian.
As I listen to that special, I'm like, man, this dude's not even telling jokes. He's funny as fuck. He's just up there talking.
Yeah, he's just talking.
Just talking.
He just knows how to talk.
Yeah, I envy that so much because I want to get myself to that sort of level.
Yeah.
Not necessarily even in the comedy realm, just being able to just talk like that,
He's respected so much that I feel like even when he's not being funny, you still want to listen to him.
Yeah.
You respect where he's coming from. You respect his joke. And it was funny because, the beginning, he started off so hectic. The beginning of the special was so hectic. Like, he did that joke about, getting molested. And then he's, coming on his face. That's so stupid. It's like this. And then by the end, he's trying to make a point about, life. And I'm like, Dave, you can take the comedian and try to make him serious and take the clown paint off, but he's still a clown. That's why, the first half was so funny.
Yeah.
I kept making all those jokes. Yeah. Oh, I did want to bring this up, too. Fuck you, Bama. Bama lost. Bama lost to Texas A&M.
Man,
I love that, dude.
There's going to be all sorts of cousin-on-cousin domestic violence in Alabama now.
It's just going to be beating each other. Man, did you beat your wife? Yeah, I beat my sister. Yeah, I beat the shit out of her. There's no such thing as domestic.
Is it I beat my sister, or I beat our sister?
That's not my sister. That's our sister. Yeah, that's been the joke. I know. Shout out to Matt Perez. I know you're having a rough day. He's a huge Bama fan. I know he's just crying, just sitting, crying, just wishing that it didn't happen. And I mean, to have an unranked Texas A&M beat them is hilarious.
What? So wait, they haven't lost in 5 years, right?
Something like that.
It's been crazy.
Other than I think that that's it. I don't think they've lost.
Yeah, because they. Oh no. No, because they haven't been national champions. Because LSU, I know LSU was 1 year, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to that enough to that. So
yeah, it all gets confusing.
Yeah.
LSU or what's the one that's Clemson won 1 year?
Yeah, Clemson. Yeah.
And so they don't always win, but it could just be straight to schedule at that point, right? Mm. But I don't think they've lost in the regular season in a long time. They might have lost in the playoffs. But okay. I know they haven't lost.
Yeah, I know they haven't lost.
And normally when they lose to a good team. So losing to an unranked team, I wonder what Texas A&M's going to be ranked on Monday.
No, they're not going to be ranked.
Yeah,
maybe they hit 25 just because of this, but I don't like. But depending on what they
deserve something. They deserve to get on there just for a day.
What's their record now?
I don't even know.
Watch it's just like 1-3.
Yeah. we finally got to win, guys. It
Yes.
was a big one. Yeah. It's funny because it's like it was supposed to be like a layup, you know what I mean? And then they fucking botched it.
Yeah. It should have been an 80-score game for Alabama, right? But like,
instead, they end up getting beat, which was fun because we were all laughing at it. Everybody on Facebook's just clowning Alabama because every week Alabama's just annoying. They're always talking shit and they always win. And nobody, the one thing everybody can agree on is we love watching the big man fall.
Yeah,
that's the fun. It's fun, especially the one that's got all the money and fucking Nick Saban.
Yeah, fuck the man.
Yeah. And then Urban Meyer got in trouble this week. Did you see that?
Again?
Yeah, he had a girl. He was at a bar or something, and he had a young girl like sitting in his lap, and they put out a big statement. He's the Jaguars coach now, and he's married and shit. So, who's out there taking that video? I want to find out who took that video, man. Fuck you,
Tony Khan. You might want to get your man. Shit,
somebody's got you. Somebody out here snitching. They out here snitching on people.
Wow.
No. It was funny, man, and then they dropped some other ones. It's like Urban Meyer getting in trouble. They're like, well, he's not going to be in Jacksonville very long.
See, he needed more Tebow in his life. If Tebow was there, he would have said, Urban, let's go Bible study.
Hey,
let's
gotta go. We gotta go to the Bible study.
Let's go read the book of Jacob. Is that a Bible book?
It might be. I know it's some white names. Like Matthew, and Mark, and Luke,
Nate,
and John,
something. I don't know.
Book of the book of Urban Meyer. Yeah. And cheat on your wife. No, that's too much, man. Well, let's go ahead and call this one, man. We get over an hour. It's been a pretty crazy one. Talk about a bunch of crazy shit.
Oh, wait, one more thing.
Oh shit.
Far Cry 6 has cockfighting.
Oh shit, we read about that.
And PETA hates it, which I think is fucking hilarious.
Dude.
So everyone should buy Far Cry 6.
Yeah, buy Far
Cry
6, dude.
And then let's explain to PETA that maybe the real problem is the companions that you can get in Far Cry 6 that are all handicapped animals.
Yeah. Hey, man, I honestly think that's inclusive. You know, we want all it's inclusive. Now, the fact that there's cockfighting in the game, that's not gonna make. There was cockfighting in that movie, Cry Macho. Have you seen that shit?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Yeah, don't. It's garbage.
Don't.
It's absolute garbage.
Okay, good.
Watch it, honestly, and then watch it, and it'll probably be a great movie because it's so fucking far fetched and stupid. The fact
is it gonna remind me of Gran Torino? Because
because it's the same guy. It's fucking Clint Eastwood being way too old to. But at least in Gran Torino, he was young enough to believe that he could do the things he was doing, shooting people and stuff is normal. But in this one, he's fighting guys, and it's and then every scene is either him fighting a guy or him yelling or him trying to get a woman not to want to fuck him. No, I don't want to fuck you. And it's bro, nobody wants to fuck your 90 fucking year old ass anyway. He's so old looking. He looks like he's 1,000,000 years old, and he's I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna go in there, and I'm gonna beat your fucking ass. And he's pushing guys down and beating the shit out of them. And it's you can tell he has no arm strength. And it's you ever seen some? I know as a wrestling fan, you know when somebody punches somebody and they take it too far, they give them way too much.
Yeah, they sell too much.
Yeah, they the Rock when he would get a Stone Cold Stunner, you fly back and then do a flip and then end up on the ground. It reminds me of that, only way worse because you can tell that Clint Eastwood has no strength in his arms and he's I'm gonna beat your ass, and it's he's doing the 1-inch punch with no strength. And it's an old man I'll fucking kick your fucking ass, you son of a bitch. And then he's I gotta say a curse word, you gook. And it's something. It's you piece of shit. It's a whole movie. And then he's I'm gonna make the exact same shitty movie, but this time it's gonna be in Mexico, and I'm gonna say wetback or some shit like that. And it's he just uses an excuse to use slurs. It's Grandpa wants to say slurs. Let's get him a movie.
Wait, if people want to cancel Dave Chappelle when Clint Eastwood is ready to die and available to cancel,
yeah. It's the mule is the mule where he's drug running and shit. I'm none of this is realistic. Well, the weirdest thing is the movie starts. I was the podcast is over, and then I'm thinking about this. The movie starts, and he's an old ranch hand. He's he trains horses, but he's past his prime. And a guy comes in, and he's "Hey, man, you're fired." And he's trying to talk to him, and the whole time Clint was just not. He's not giving the guy any emotion. He's "All right, I guess it's over." And then it's 2 years later, or 1 year later, and he's the same guy walks in. The same guy walks in a year later or 2 years later, and he's still alive. Still, I don't know how, because he looks like he's dying. He should be on dialysis or something. And he walks in and he's "I need your help, man." And he's "What you need my help with?" And he's I got a kid, an illegitimate kid I had in Mexico. He's got a shitty mom. Can you go down there and get him? And I'm like, there's so many other people you could ask.
Why would you ask this 95-year-old man to go get your kids?
So
You need an
fucking
actual
stupid.
reverse coyote for this shit.
You need somebody that knows what they're doing. At least get somebody who's Mexican that can like fit in when he gets down there. No, he can speak the language. No, he's gonna take this old guy who can barely even speak English because his mouth doesn't move and his eyes are all. And I'm like, and he goes down there and he's like, I'm gonna go down there and get this kid. And he goes down there to find the kid, and the kid's cockfighting. And the movie is about the name of his cock is Macho, and that's Cry Macho, and it's like that's what it reminded me of. So that's why I thought of it, because it's like you're mad at a fucking video game with like unrealistic, not even real chickens in it fighting. They're digital chickens. Grand Theft Auto, you can kill a hooker. You're not mad about that, PETA.
Look, one of the chickens is a gang leader. And he calls shots.
Oh my fucking god. Bro, you should be happy, man. That's like fucking chicken's rights, baby.
Bro.
Cock rights.
This is amazing. This has been a great podcast.
Yeah,
right? We're gonna go eat some Popeyes.
Yeah. We're gonna go eat the Popeyes. Fuck you, PETA. It's Kokomo Press Podcast. 2 kisses. Love you.
Later. Hey, what up? You just listened to the podcast. Thanks for putting up with us for the last, hour or so. Really appreciate that. You can find us on all major podcast platforms. You can find this guy on a lot of different shit. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, some Instagram shit, whatever. Also, buy our merch. Can I grab you consensually? Buy our merch.